you probably, I got to ask you this in the right way, because it's probably something that the thing that gets mentioned all the time, and I'm guilty of it, is you winning post childbirth and coming back and being arguably better post childbirth. And how does that happen? And now we're seeing, Osaka, Wozniacki, Kerber. We saw Serena. How do you feel about it? And do you get annoyed by kind of being the person that everyone points to as the success story? Because I personally, when you won and Jada was sitting there with the trophy, and it's weird to think that that person next to that trophy
Can
is
drive
now
soon.
now has
I
a
know.
boyfriend, right? I don't
I
like
know.
that. I don't like that much.
No.
But how do you feel about it? Are you proud, as I think you should be, or is it like I kind of just don't want to talk about it because they need their lane, and I don't want to be the person that anyone kind of points to?
No, I mean, am I proud about it? I mean, I was really proud in the moment. Do I think about it a lot now? No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
But it's more I get, like when like you, if you bring it up, or when I go to an event and people talk about it, or I bring Jada, like she went to when we played the EXO at the US Open, I brought Jada to that, and then people that used to work for the tour that are,
Yep.
when they see her again, like that's when those kind of things get brought up, like I start to talk about it, and I'll talk about it with the kids a little bit, but it doesn't ever get brought up in our household or anything. We don't talk about it. Like it's was a part of my past, but yeah, I mean, it is, I don't know. I've never been like that about victories or wins, or, like I'll get letters or on my social, like people, mothers that reach out and found inspiration from, going to work or whatever it was. Those are nice things to hear, that you've, without knowing or without trying, had an impact on people. But it's not that I'm, thinking about that at all, actually.
I don't. I'm. I never get pissed at you, and I'm pissed at you because I want you to be prouder of it than you are. I really do. Like I need you to. I think I want you to swell with pride, like the rest of us swell with pride
Wow.
for you. But I think
Thank you.
I think you were responsible for it being a possibility, and before you did it, it wasn't something that really happened, frankly. And
No,
if it happened, it may have happened here and there, but it wasn't like an expectation, right? Where
right.
someone leaves the tour at a young age, like a Naomi, and it's not like, oh, well, that we might that might be it. Now it's almost this like half expectation that we're definitely going to see someone again, and I think that is because of you, even if you want to undersell it.
I'm not trying to undersell it. The thing is, when I stopped playing and I had Jada, I never thought that I was going to come back. Like I never,
You
like
were
Serena
23.
and Naomi, and they all kind of already said, like, yeah, I'm coming back as soon as my body's capable. I'll try to push it and be ready for a certain timeline. I didn't do that. Like I was done playing tennis. I was done with the crazy circus of, traveling on the road and dealing with everything else that comes outside of, what happens on the tennis court. And um yeah, and then, met Brian, had a tough time with, my father, who passed away. Like he was sick for a year. My sister and I, we took care of him. um and then had Jada, and so a lot of things, like life-changing things, happened in my life, in a short amount of time. And it kind of, tennis, and then the invitation to play Andre and Steffi at Wimbledon, when they built the new roof on center court, that came, and that kind of sparked, yeah, my time to, like, to go and work out again, to go hit.
And that was
And
the same year that you won the US Open.
yeah.
So you got your spark like 6 weeks before you won the US Open, or
No, that was earlier. So that was, I guess,
oh, it was May because they were previewing it, right?
yeah. So
Okay,
my dad passed away in January. I got that letter, I think February, beginning of March,
got it.
to go play at Wimbledon. And so, yeah, just started hitting and locally, and I didn't want to cause any rumors, or I just started hitting a little bit and to play some exhibitions. What was,
Crazy.
what I had in mind. And then 2-3 weeks into it, kind of that hunger of competing grew, and then I was like, okay, talk to my fitness guy who traveled with me for most of my career, Sam, and I was like, listen, Sam, I'm kind of feeling this drive, like from within, that I don't want to just play exhibitions. Like I want to compete in tournaments. And he's like, okay, well, you're gonna have to work hard. Like if this is what you want to do. And then thought of the Australian Open being the first goal, but then said, okay, let's see what it's like at the end of this year, play a couple of tournaments and get kind of a feel for, like, that's the honest conversation we had. Like, get a feel for what it's like traveling with a baby. Yeah, and getting my routine back, seeing what the level's like on tour, and how I recover after matches. And that was basically the purpose of starting in '09, and then got a wild card in New York, and was able to win, and then crashed after it on the streets somewhere in New York. Completely the emotions of that whole year, I think, of losing my dad. And it was just, how you do like all the interviews and
Yeah.
stuff afterwards. And then, yeah, got to
But
New
so
York.
you had a moment when kind of no one was around and it
Yeah,
just
just
all
my
kind of blowed
team.
up?
Yeah. And
Wow.
Brian, and we just sat, and I could not stop crying. It's like
Yeah.
you held it in for so long, or you tried to suppress it, those feelings of grief and of the excitement too, but then also dealing with, media always trying to, get something from Jada or pictures, and
Mm.
you don't want to be rude, but you try to like block it off as much as possible. And I think everything just came together, and um, yeah, it was too much to handle,
I'll tell
in a
you.
sense.
So mine wasn't. This is not a fair parallel. So I'm not trying to make it apples to apples at all. My 2 years after I retired, my father passed suddenly, and for me, it was this whole. You go through this tennis life, and I remember having this moment. I was playing. I had to play an exhibition. It was probably a month after he passed, and I was playing James, and I hadn't hit a ball, I hadn't done anything, and it struck me as I was playing that match. I go, "This is the first time I've ever played tennis in my entire life while my father hasn't been on Earth."
Yeah,
Right, and so I'm sure that had to have some boil up where like it's the first this success I'm having, but it's in the trail and the vacuum of this relationship. I'm probably projecting a little bit, but I had that moment where you almost tie life memories to certain
yeah,
moments, and
yeah.
tennis is kind of this all-consuming thing.
And my dad wasn't like an overbearing tennis parent. Like, he played soccer, he knew what like being an athlete was about, so he was always very helpful when it came to like the mental side of
Yeah.
things and preparation. But I would always, like, when I was nervous, and especially the bigger like matches, I would always give him a quick call, like right before, if I was like just walking to the bathroom just before I had to
Really?
go to the match. And I had a moment at the US Open, and I'm walking to the bathroom, and I'm dialing his number on my, like,
Mm,
it was such an automatic kind of, thing that I would do when I was nervous, just to pick up the phone, even though it's 6 hours later in Belgium. And, I knew he would always answer. Um,
mm.
and as I'm dialing the number, I caught myself. I'm like, oh, yeah, like, what am I doing? And, so, but then you suppress those moments, right? Like, you're like, okay, I got to go on court in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I can't have time to think about what, my thoughts and, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy. Like, he saw me win. We spent, when I won my first championships in LA, like, we had incredible moments traveling together,
Mhm.
and just talking and sitting on the plane, and yeah, I mean, all these things. Him sharing his experiences from when he was a soccer player, and it's like those are the things that now that I'm older, I like they mean so much more than when they're still around, I think, or you think back about those conversations with a deeper meaning. Um, and now too with the kids, I mean, it's amazing, like, how many times I catch myself, like, even with Jada now, like, she's, she plays basketball, she played for the Belgian national team last summer. Media starts to get in, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm realizing I'm thinking like my dad, like the protection mode kicks in, and I love it. Like, I love it, and I'm grateful for it. And yeah, it's been, I mean, almost, it's been 15 years since he passed away. So I love talking about it. Like, I love talking about these experiences, and happy I can do it without, um, the negative
Yeah.
feelings or the pain.